Well, right now, everyone's really focused on, especially with like inflation and everything and crypto and NFTs, people are focused on this like get rich quick scheme. And we talked about it on Jordan Belfort's podcast. Like you have to hit pause. If you're trying to like get rich quick, hit pause immediately. And you need to focus on three things, is what I'll say. The first thing is debt management. It's boring. It's awful to talk about. No one wants to talk about their credit card debt. No one wants to talk about their credit score. No one wants to talk about the current debt they have. There's nothing sexy about it, but it is literally it's the bedrock. It's the foundation of your financial health. And so there's great debt that can really build you a ton of wealth, as you know, like when you're growing a business or potentially real estate, and there's debt that could literally destroy you. And understanding your debt foundation is massive. The second one is, it's boring again, but it's budgeting. Now I'll make it a little sexier. What I like to focus on is behavioral based budgeting. So if you take 3 months of your credit card statements, I talk about this when I was on The Bachelor, and you analyze it, not the dollars, not the transactions. You just look at the psychology of your spending. You're going to learn more. It's like going to a therapist. If you're just 20 minutes, 3 months of credit card statements, just go down. You're going to learn so much about yourself. Are you spending it like, where are your biggest expenses? Are you in like luxury items? Well, what are you trying to do there? Are you trying to impress someone? Is there something insecurity? Are you doing it for happiness? Oh, maybe there's reoccurring monthly expenses that you forgot about, subscriptions. Okay, you're not organized. Like, maybe it's for me when I was in my early 20s, I had these like ridiculous bar bills. What am I doing? I knew I wasn't drinking that much. I'll tell you what I was doing. I was trying to be the fucking guy. I was trying to like, here's my tab. Who wants a drink? I wanted to feel cool. I was feeling it cool because that was like my way of dealing with the insecurities at work, dealing with the lack of confidence with who I was. So where would I make up for that? Being cool at the bar, what I perceived as being cool by buying people drinks. There's so much you can learn about yourself based on your spending. So not only are you budgeting, but you're looking at your behaviors to try and minimize what's going to happen moving forward. So budgeting is massive, especially now, 7.9% inflation. Like if you weren't budgeting a year ago, it wasn't good. You should be. If you're not budgeting now, you could be completely screwed because the price of everything is just, in 12-month period, it's increased more than we've seen in 40 years. January 1982 is the last time we've seen a 12-month hike like this. So if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. You have to budget. Yeah. And the third one I'll say is, and this goes both ways, spending and earning, negotiate for everything. You have to negotiate for every single penny, what you're spending on, the big purchases, where you're making money. Someone pays you for something. Does it make sense? Because unfortunately, we're in a position right now where price of a consumer price index is up what it is, 7.9%. And you have to kind of defend that. Otherwise, your net cash flow to your wealth, to your name, to your family will be decreased drastically, materially if you don't do this. So negotiating both sides, spending and buying, behavioral-based budgeting, really strong focus on debt management. Those are the three pillars.
I love that, dude. It's a perfect foundation for anybody.
Yeah.
Let's say we have some people out there that are listening and they're like, okay, I got some of that under my belt. But now I'm at the point where I have a little bit of excess cash, and there are a lot of people that are struggling and in debt right now, and COVID decimated them. But there are also a lot of people that find themselves in a surplus of cash, and they're sitting on cash and letting it waste away in their bank account just simply because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to invest it without feeling like they just lost all the money that they've worked really hard to earn.
Sure.
So what do you have any kind of, and I know none of this is investing in financial advice, disclaimer. But what are your thoughts on how to get started in letting your money work for you, which is really where wealth is built?
Yeah. So we could do a whole podcast on this, but let's touch on it a little bit. So first of all, debt's got to be taken care of so that all your interest rate, let's just make sure at the bare minimum, your interest rates are all lower than inflation. So 7.9% or lower, and that's being extremely liberal with everything. So it should be better than that, but if it's not, so assume that's the case. Then the step 2 is you have a rainy day fund. So I would say rainy day fund. If I look at each of you right now, you should be able to quickly tell me a pretty solid idea of your fixed and variable costs on a monthly basis. And so what you should have is a minimum of what I like to say is consider again, very liberally 2 months of cash. So if I take your monthly costs, your fixed costs, your variable costs in an account, 2 months minimum. On a ridiculous standpoint, 12 months. But that's being extremely risk averse. So in cash. So debt's good. Now you got your rainy day fund set. Those two things are taken care of. Now it's time to get smart. So you want to think about tax strategy and you want to think about investing. Let's talk quickly tax strategy, 401k. If you have a 401k right now and you have any bit of match it to what it is. It's 100% return. If you have an HSA, a high deductible plan, put your money in the high deductible plan. It's a triple tax advantage. So you're going to have significant impact there. If you're younger and you could afford, get a Roth IRA, right? The idea behind a Roth, like very quickly, is that when you're 22, you're probably going to have a less taxed, let's say tax percentage. I won't get like technical than when you're 65, right? So if you're listening to this and you think that you will make more money as you age, a Roth IRA is a strategy for you to deploy after tax dollars. So those are some like tax quick, simple things. And once you're like, Jason, I'm past that. Now I have excess cash. I really want to get busy in the market. The first thing you got to say to yourself is like, we're in Vegas. It's a perfect example. What is your risk tolerance, right? Us four might go to the Wynn Casino and you might say, you know what? You guys go gamble. I'm just going to get the free drinks, right? Jackie might say, you know what? Fuck that. I'm putting $1,000 on red. Let's go. We're all going to have different risk tolerances. And based on those risk tolerances, you're going to do different things. You're going to deploy your money differently. So you have to understand what your risk tolerance is. Then based on your risk tolerance, there's going to be a lot of investment opportunity for you, right? You could look at commodities. You could look at real estate. If you can't afford real estate, you could look at REITs, so publicly traded REITs. There's a lot of mutual funds out there. I mean, there's so many. Obviously, there's crypto, there's NFTs, there's equities, there's casinos, there's going $1,000 on red. Yes. So your investment options will change, but you can't make a decision on what your investment options will be until you know what your risk tolerance is. And that's a really important stage of the process.